who are about to get a whole lot wilder. It's Bernadette, and I am here on January 31st, 2021 for your Pick a Card Tarot reading. Whoo! What? It is the horse. It is the Chariot card, but inverted. Okay, now, in all the years I've been reading, I've never, ever had a message like this about this card or this animal come through. And I'll tell you now, I'm just telling you straight out, it is the time for serious business. Now, serious doesn't have to mean like it's a downer or this or that, but it's like that whole, you better wake up and pay attention. Because when the Chariot card is inverted, what it really, at the end of the day, what it means is that it's time. You may think that you're on the last legs of the race. You may think that you don't have any more fight left in you, push left in you, strength or energy left in you. And it may not be about all things. It may just be about one thing. But you do, you are, and you will gather up yourself and you will hit the trail again, galloping all the way, like just tearing it up. The reason I go straight into it like that is because honestly, I just can't remember ever having been given this message. Usually when there's a two-tone animal, like if you'll notice, I'll turn the card up right for just now. In the traditional tarot card meanings of the Chariot, there's a white and a black sphinx. And so, the horses wanted me to use a white and black horse for the Chariot card in the Arc Tarot Animal and Oracle deck. Usually black and white animals are two-tone animals, zebras, pandas, really any animal that is a two-tone is about balance. I have never had this. I know I've said it 4 times, but I'm trying to make sure I heard what I heard. And I want to be sure that you're going to, pick up what I'm throwing down. And that is this reading today. It's 2 things. It's about the smallest things are the most important things, not just for today, but through the next week into 2 weeks, but for sure it's this week. So it's almost kind of like the devil's in the details. You're being called to look at every single little thing, and you're definitely going to have signs and omens and messages from spirit, from your animal allies, your spirit guides, your angels, God, source, at all. And they may not be the kind of messages, and I don't even mean subtle, but small. So something that you might feel like is a small thing, right? Like you go through the line at Publix. By the way, y'all, I think I broke Publix. I do. I went there for groceries the other day. Nothing happened. What? Am I in an alternate universe? Nothing happened. I walked in, I got my groceries, I walked out. It was like being the invisible woman. I think I broke Publix, you guys. I'll get back to you more on that later, but it's about the small things. So let's say you're going through the checkout line of wherever, you're having a conversation with somebody about whatever. Even just the way that you say yes or no to something could rock their world or not rock their world. Or send them in the opposite direction, like rock their world in a positive way or rock their world like not in a positive way. So when the messages are coming to you, it's important that something you might even go, huh? And then you pay it only that much attention, then you move on about your merry business, right? Don't do that. Any little thing you think is a sign probably is, because again, two-tone animals usually mean balance. But for today, what I'm hearing is it is absolutely, literally, the 2 biggest buzzwords I can think of, absolutely and literally, black and white. It either is or it is not. It is or it is not. And that is going to trip up a lot of y'all, because we live, those of us that are walking a spiritual path understand that everything is a flow. You know, like to have to really look at something and say, well, it either is or it's not, is a very grounded, grounded, but almost even in shackles kind of way of looking at things. And there is nothing about horse that is about being trapped or being in shackles or being tamed. It's just not. It's just not. Inside of them now, and let me just say this, y'all, I grew up in Ocala, Florida, the horse capital of the world. I mean, Kentucky Schmentucky, right? We're talking Ocala, Florida. I've been around my fair share of horses. Oh, yes, I have. I've been bucked off of them, thrown off of them. I got to tell you the story. It's actually germane to the reading. I didn't even think about it till just now. So I'm like 10 years old. And we were poor as Al you know what, which I've often said. But the reason my mom worked an extra job and a half was because my sister loved horses. Still to this day, loves them. And I love all animals. And so I was always toting home, something that needed to be rescued. A kid, an owl, a dog, a cat, whatever. It needed to be rescued. It was going to find me. My mom used to say there was a big neon sign over our trailer that read, "Suckers live here." So nothing would do. My mom wanted to be fair. And my sister had 2 horses. Now, let's be clear. Okay, these were not purebreds or, they were like mutts. And they didn't have great, they had a pole barn where they could get out of the weather if they wanted to. And they were fed, 2 giant squares a day. They always had fresh water, fresh hay, as good a food as we knew how to give them then. So they were pretty low maintenance. They didn't cost a lot, but to us, every dime was important. So, I was a kid and I cried and cried and cried and cried and cried because my big sister had 2 horses and I didn't have any. So my mom got me a little Welsh pony, black. There wasn't, she was so dark and every single hair on her was so dark that even her eyes looked, they looked supernatural. They did. So, I was a kid. I was like, pony. And I named her Licorice. I don't know why. I can't stand that candy. Named her Licorice. She was like the calico cat that I told you guys about, which is a mean, hateful heifer. I've had her for 14 years and she still just is today as she was the day I snatched her off the street about to be killed by an oncoming car. I think she'd be a little grateful. Oh no. Okay. So I was not a good rider when I was a kid. I was more like a rodeo rider. I didn't ride for real. My sister rode for real. She rode for real. I was just like, for 20, 30 minutes a day. And off I went to, watch sitcoms. So one day it was on a weekend. And this horse, she just did not want to be ridden. The horses generally really don't. And she just did not want to be ridden. And so she took a wild hare and somebody left the door to our trailer open. And she went right up those concrete stairs and and forgive me if I've told this story before, but, and she stood right in the middle of our living room with me on her back. And here's all I could think of. I was a kid. I am going to get in so much trouble. So then I started crying and then I started screaming because I couldn't get her to budge out to go back down. She just stood right in the middle of the trailer and she looked around. Y'all, trailers are not the sturdiest things. And we're talking, I'm 54. We're talking when I was 9 or 10. Those clapboard things were little more than really thick cardboard boxes. And I just knew she was going to fall through the trailer floor. So my mom comes winging around the corner. She went to throwing a fit. I totally get it. But then she couldn't get Licorice to come out. She'd pull and that horse would pull back. And she'd pull on those reins again and that horse would pull back. And then she did the classic, got behind her, tried to nudge her butt out. I'm going to push this horse out of this trailer. And she's like, don't you get off that horse. Don't you get off that horse. If you get off that horse, she's going to start running. And now she's screaming for my sister, the horse whisperer. My sister comes around the corner. She wanted to laugh. But we were both so scared of my mom. She walked up the trailer steps. All she did was lean into the trailer and say, Licorice. And Licorice said, ditto, 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 right down those trailer stairs. And as she got to the bottom of the stairs, she bolted, took me with her, and proceeded to take me where a tree branch. I saw it coming. I couldn't process fast enough. That tree branch whacked me in the head, and I went tumbling ass end over teacup over the back of her and said, whomp! right into the ground. That was mostly the end of my riding days. I love horses. I truly do. I love to be around them. I love them to be around me. I'm just not a rider. So I was never very good at it anyway. So that's my horse story. But what it leads me to is when something is supposed to be black or white, it either is or it isn't. That causes us to have to make decisions and live with the outcome. Once that decision is made, once we've acted on it, which is what the Chariot is all about. Now, in an upright position, the traditional tarot card meanings of the Chariot card mean that you control your destiny and you control your path, and you don't have to struggle for it. If you notice, the charioteer in this card is not holding the reins. He is making everything happen with his mind. So when the card is inverted and you're like, oh, I just really want to stay in bed, or I just don't have the strength, I don't this. This is a power of the mind kind of thing. Get over it. Whatever is holding you back, get over it. Like my mom would say, stop your crying. Somebody else somewhere has it worse than you do. Jerk yourself up by your bootstraps and let's get with it. That's it. Let's get with it. That is the theme of this reading today. It either is or it isn't, so let's get with it. That is a little bit of a harsh thing to deliver on a Monday, where, of course, the crown chakra or the root chakra, something like that can take root and really, really get you mired in the emotions of the day, which are sure to be activated by, if this reading resonates with you and you're like, gosh, I know I have decisions coming up this week. Yeah, I need to make those decisions. I can't be riding both sides of the fence. I can't be prepared for both outcomes or eventualities. No, this is time to pick sides. Not pick sides, but pick sides, if that makes sense. But once you pick it, you've got to be willing to commit to it, because the really great news about the Chariot, tarot card inverted or reversed is that once you make that decision, it is almost like it, turns the card around. It's almost like that. Now you start adding in the horse magic, the horse energy. And y'all, I could talk for days about horse symbolism and meaning. But really at the end of the day, they are truly, truly being about wild and free. Even if you've got to set yourself free from yourself, and your unwillingness to take those leaps forward or gallop forward or run forward, it's not the time to do that. But again, I'm being told to reiterate this about small things, not the huge things, but the small things, meaning what you can keep in mind is something that might seem insignificant to you very well may have a much farther reaching butterfly effect than you know. Now, an example of that is when I used to do comedy, and it would just shake me to the core when someone would come up and say, could I talk to you for a minute? Sure. And they would tell me something like, my husband or wife left me, I'm having to file bankruptcy, I just got fired, I just found out I got cancer, I this, I that. And I had a plan. I was going to come to this comedy show and then I was going to kill myself. But this line, when you said this, when you did this, and I know dozens and dozens of musicians, of dancers, of teachers, of nurses, I even have a friend that used to own a gourmet bakery. And she had been told throughout the course of her owning this bakery that just being able to taste a delicious croissant made that person who was in that down space, like this person had this whole day planned out. They were going to have a croissant, and then they were going to get a petit mani. They had this whole day of beautiful self-care planned, but that night she was going to take a bunch of pills, and that was going to be all she wrote. And over a croissant, you guys, she decided not to do it. It shook my friend to the core in a really positive way. And the things that she did with her business and those baked goods were nothing short of heavenly and divine. And so today, and also remember the Chariot is the number 7. in the major arcana. And in numerology, number 7 symbolizes work that's yet to be completed, your great task. It might be your opus. But it really, the overarching thing is to keep the faith and stay true to your path. So it's like, get with it. We're going to keep the faith and we're going to stay true to our path. Woo! I hope that was helpful, because that's a lot on a Monday, y'all. It's a lot. But I love you guys. I hope you pick up your copy of the Arcanimal Tarot and Oracle deck. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. And as always, stay wild.